Welcome to my daily review. Today is Monday, June 16th. And we're more than halfway through June already. And I just got to remind everyone that Thursday, the markets are closed for Juneteenth as we celebrate Juneteenth. So right in the middle of the week, we have three sessions, and we're off a Thursday, then back at it again on Friday. But anyway, today the Nasdaq gained 294 points or 1.52%. And you can see we got back what we lost on Friday and then some, just a little bit more. We lost 255 points on Friday, got back to 294 today. So no harm, no foul. Like I said on the weekend video, it looked to me just like normal, profit taking. You got to expect after all these weeks of rallying that there's going to be some profit taking here. So we had a big week here. We were up 7%, gave a little back, 2.5. Then we're up a couple of weeks, 2%, 2%. Last week gave back, 2/3 of a percent. And on Friday, it was most of the damage was done. And then today, we get back what we lost on Friday. And, the uptrend is still intact. And so, those down days like we see on Friday, those are good days to assess, the relative strength of your stocks, and over the weekend, you got to take a look at your stocks and see which ones are performing well and which ones are not performing. And if you belong to mcstockcharts.com, then you know at the top of the report every morning is a leading stock list, and those stocks excuse me, it's not the leading stock list, it's a relative strength stock list, and those stocks showing relative strength are certainly outperforming. I'm not going to go through those today because I'm going to do a couple of themes here, and maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Go through the stock showing relative strength. And anyway, just wanted to point out, the Nasdaq was up, and we got back what we lost. The S&P 500 back above 6,000 there, 633 is up 56 points today, nearly 1%. So the Nasdaq was the big leader. I'm not going to go through the Tesla and Apple and all that shenanigans. Tesla is up 1% today, 4 points. Not a big deal. Like I said, I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to go through the themes with the Nasdaq up. There's some themes that are really outperforming now, and this nuclear theme is one of them. You got your quantum computers, you got your space theme, you got your robotics, so software, hardware. There's a lot of themes that are working here, and you're looking at LEU, Centrist Energy. This is one of the stocks that is on the relative strength stock list, and you can see why. It's got an RS rating of 99. Don't you want to have the top 1% of all stocks? I mean, it's outperforming 99% of the stocks here. So this is a nice one to have. Where do you buy it? Well, when it pulls back to the five, right? It just keeps jumping off that five every time. So I wouldn't be buying it here. It's 6.4% above its five, but that's a rising, fast rising five. And the nuclear theme certainly was working today. OKLO had a real large secondary offering of like 400 million, which is a lot for now it's a $9 billion company. But anyways, up nearly 3% today. The nuclear theme was very strong today. This is SMR, New Scale Power, another one of these nuclear stocks. You could see the alternative energy, is one of the top two groups. This one was up nearly 10% today, closed at the middle of its daily range. It was really popping, but once again, you just got to take a look at that green line, which is the five, which I use for the leading stocks in this market, the stronger stocks, which are leading, higher. All right. I've just got a lot of different themes to get to today, so I'm going to go through. I guess I'll go to the quant theme next. The nuclear's fine. I'm not going to go through all the energy names. There's a lot going on today, and the ones that I normally, go over. I'm just going to try to do some different stocks today and just go through the themes of actually working. This is QBTS. It was up nearly 6% today. Somebody was asking me what's wrong with IONQ. I don't think anything's wrong with it. It had a big run, 54 here. was the high. It made this cup. Now it's forming this little handle, and it closed right at about the 21 today, just a tick above it. It looks fine. I know it wasn't, ramping like a lot of stocks were today, but IONQ looks fine. The other one in this group is Rigetti, quantum computing. Yeah, this one was up nearly 7%. Once again, got that like a bull wedge pattern back to the 21. That seems to be kind of a successful pattern these days. QUBT just bounced off the five and super strong stock up 27% today. When I'm in computing, and I might as well go to IBM. These guys are the original quant, right? Because they had Watson back, 30 years ago. So IBM, IBM, you can't argue with this thing. It's making new highs. 284.50 was the high today. It did not close, near the, oops, not a one minute. We'll go 5 minute. Yeah, rallied up and sold off into the close, but still a nice day. Up, yeah, nearly 2%. And you can see on the weekly, this thing's just grinding higher. They've made some good acquisitions since Jenny Romedy retired. I believe it was around Christmas in 21. Their new CEO is doing a hell of a job. So IBM is definitely not one to forget in this quantum, computer space. All right, I got to talk about space a little bit. I guess I'm just trying to robots and space, they kind of all go together. I'm just throwing them all in here now. This is OUST Ouster. The group, the actual group is the auto truck original equipment, but they develop lidar sensors and tools for autonomous vehicles and robotic sectors, right? So that's kind of its niche market. Yeah, 10% today. Another one in this group, AEVA. This one is ramping right off the five here. This thing's just surfing off the five. See how it went sideways for a long, 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 long time after this ramp up, went sideways for a long time. And since it started ramping higher there in May, since we got liberated, this thing has been a monster stock and just surfing its five like Kelly Slater. That one looks good as well. PSIX is another one of these, machinery group that is, really into AI stock. This one, let me see. Here's the weekly. You can see kind of the pattern rec isn't picking this up, but that's definitely a nice base there from the 45.74, the breakout and the move higher. And this one just surfing its five EMA. Also, that's PSIX Power Solutions. So, just a lot of stocks in this group here. Rocket Lab pulled back to its 21, formed that little wedge pattern up nearly 5% today. And then some of the other space related stocks, Joby, this one was up nearly 5%. And then Archer had news. I think Kathy Wood bought some last week, but this is going to be the like the taxi, the people mover for the LA Olympics in 2028. They got the contract to move people around the venues in LA because LA is kind of a big city and moving around from venue to venue. You go from, I don't know, SoFi Stadium to the LA Coliseum. It's a little bit of a trek on the freeway, and you could use these, people movers. They're air taxis. So Archer got the contract for that. I know it seems like a long ways away, but it'll be here before you know it. All right. And then SYM is another one of these robotic plays. This one was up 16% today, popping off that 21. You could see that bull wedge. So, not all patterns work. And, a lot of people like, cup with handle or double bottom base. It doesn't matter. A pattern is a pattern, a flat base, a 3 weeks tight. It's just you want, and this is a bull wedge. This happens to be working. I've seen a lot of these here now where stocks pull back. So you embrace the pullbacks is kind of what I'm saying. You don't buy the dips, you buy the bounce off the dip. So, if you bought this thing this morning, nice 18% move's not bad, right? If you were watching it and, got this, in the first, I don't know, half hour maybe. Yeah, was it, what was it? 29.74 here, 29.92, and it ended up at 32. So nice move for Symbiotic. Anyway, you got the nuclear, you got the quants, you got the space, and the robots. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff working here. Um, Did I go over ASTS? I don't know if I did. Yeah, Telecom Cable Service. This is one we had on our ready list last week, and it popped. So I didn't include it, but I know some people got it because they text. They don't text me. They sent me a message on Twitter or X. So they DM you. That's what they do on X. It's a direct message. So anyway, having a good time with 9% move is always good for your portfolio. Anyway, I'm going to get out of that group and go to another group. Not the software, but the hardware. The semiconductors are starting to pop. This is AMD had a nice day today, above the 200 now, above that old 122. I talked about this a while ago. It broke above this, downtrend here as it broke. That might have been an earnings break. Pull back to the 21, got support, 21 got support, 21 got support, and now it's above its 200. You could say that 122.52 is a buy point. And not too late. I don't think you're chasing it here, although it's you can wait for it to pull back and get a little closer to that 5 EMA. But AMD is been saying this for a while that it's kind of bottom. It's a little bit undervalued in relation to some of the other names in the group. So I might as well go to NVIDIA. This thing's got a now 3.5 trillion market cap. Still looking pretty good. Consolidating within a base though. This is not a breakout at all. I know it's had a nice run off the lows there since we got liberated a couple months ago. Oh, that reminds me. I had some questions over the weekend. I gotta get to that in a minute. Sorry. ARM is another one in the group, up nearly 5%, looking good. Broadcom, obviously a leader in the group. And then Taiwan Semiconductor. Yeah, I had a nice pop today of 2%, but I've got to go back because I just remembered something. Because I had a couple questions over the weekend, not on the site, just people randomly asking me on X, and just, and some of my friends are just asking, how long can you expect, this rally to last? How long do you expect? Well, I've said over and over again, since we started this thing. We had the follow-through day, the 20,204. I believe it's going to take that out. Maybe it'll just go to 20,205. I don't know. But I think it reaches that level. And then, people will be screaming double top at that point. But usually, if you count with me now, since the follow-through day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the 10th week. I think you could expect in a rally. This one was a longer period, maybe about 16 to 18 weeks, and this one was even longer, like 20 to 22 weeks. So I think you can expect something like, I don't know, 12 to 18 weeks in there. I don't mean to be that vague, but I still think we have a couple more weeks of this rally, and I think we take out the 20,204. And that's my best answer. I mean, this is the 10th week. I think we still have a good few more weeks of this rally, if not, another month or, 4 to 6 weeks of this rally before we get above the 20,204. It closed at 19,701, so it's not far away, right? Like 500 points. So just going by historical standards, that's kind of what to expect from a rally here. Anyway, I digress. I'm going through my themes here. I did the nuclear, the quants, the space, robotics. I did the hardware, and I've got to get to the software because this is an area where I think that's really looking strong. This is Coreweave, and this is my largest holding now by a pretty wide margin. I believe this high tide flag is going to result in higher prices and hasn't even broke out from the flag yet. Once it gets above what 166 area, 167, 166.03, 166.63, so 167, call it. I think it's going to rip 175, 180, 190. Yeah, I think it's going to do something like we did with eBay back in 1998. In 1998, there was, I don't know, not a bear market, but between October and December of 98, it was not, those were not good times. It was a real rough time there. And then, of course, 99, we had to party like it was 1999. I guess I'll do the eBay comparison again once CoreWeave gets above the 167 level, which I'm pretty confident that it will. All right. That's it with CoreWeave. This is a very, pretty rare high tight. This is an actual high tight flag that the great William O'Neill, I believe he was the one who called that the high tide flag pattern. And anyway, he was the master of those patterns. And like I said, a pattern is just a pattern, right? And it could fail, patterns can fail just because it's a certain type of pattern or your favorite pattern. They can all fail and then, they can succeed as well. I don't need to be the negative Nelly. A Palantir is another one, that I own. I had this on the ready list. I had CoreWeave and Palantir on the ready list this week. I know they're getting extended from the moving averages. This one is 3.3%. I better go back to CoreWeave because I did put this one on the Reddit list and it popped today off the five and now it's 4.4% above that five, which is 151.83. Today it was 148 on Friday. Yeah, so it's kind of just going sideways and flagging here. So now it's 151. And it's as the stock goes higher, the moving average will go higher. So I just wanted to point that out. Palantir, another one on the Reddit list. It's getting extended here, 3.3% above. It's a five, but still super strong stocks, right? And stocks that make new highs tend to continue to make more new highs. So these are the stocks that I'm interested in. IPOs. I'm going to do the IPOs in a minute, so I'm going to leave out Circle because this one certainly is a really strong stock. And since I'm talking about it, I might as well bring it up. But I wanted to show you some other software names. This is like a I don't know what you call it, blockchain. Yeah, more crypto related. But definitely a recent IPO that's doing very well. If you look at like a 1 hour chart, think you got to do that where it ran up, then formed this base, pull back to like 100. So it got support around the 100 level right in here. Yeah, and then popped Friday, I guess, Thursday, Friday, and then today gapped higher out of that. I don't know. I don't know if you want to call it a base, but yeah, right around the low is 104. Here, the low is 101. So it found support there around 100. Now it's what, 150 something. So nice 50% move off what you would call, I guess, support for an IPO, but definitely a strong stock. And that's one that I wasn't going to cover, but I think I just did. Cloudflare, another one that's I like, it formed what I would call a handle here because it rallied up to the what 181. It was this on what May or June 5. Now, pulled back on June 13th. So about 6 or 7 days of forming a handle. Had a nice little sell-off here on Thursday. Friday, when the index was down, this one kind of showed some relative strength, popped 4% today. I still like this one to trade to new highs here. That's Cloudflare. I guess I'm going to get to all these. I did IBM, CRDO. This is another one. I'm just kind of going tech software, switching back and forth here. Up 7% today. I put this one on the radar list as well. I expected it to pop off that five, and that's what it did. Nice, nearly an 8% move today for Credo. Roblox. This one is just this one's on a heater, man. Surfing the five like Kelly Slater. So every time it comes back to the five, it pops, and it's been doing that since I don't know, $58. Every time here it pops to the five, $67. Down at the five, $77. Here it pulls back to the five, $80. Pulls back to the five here at 82. So it's just higher every time, right? Every time it pulls back to the five. Yeah, 91. Last week on Thursday, it pulled back and the low was 94. Bounced Friday when the index was weak, and today just popped higher. 176. I think it's going to have a little trouble at 100. It might just rip through it like poop through a goose. I'm not sure. I think it's going to have a little bit of resistance there and get maybe the Matombo treatment, get slapped down back to the five, maybe, which was 97 today, which is not much of a slap. But anyway, Roblox, man, just a monster. This is what, the model book stocks look like, right? They break out of a base here, run up, form another base, boom. Kind of reminds me a little bit of old DoorDash here. The DoorDash is a little bit ahead of it. But this is another one that I wanted to put on my radar list this week, as it was back to its five on Friday, but I didn't. I didn't want to put too many names on because of, the overall action. And I want to kind of spread it out between defensive names and, growth stocks. But Dash, definitely another one that looks good to me. Roblox and of course Rubrik. Got to go through the the software. This one pulled back to the 21. Found support, now popped above it. Man, it's at 92. So yeah, undercut the 21 and rallied back above. Just last week on the 10th, which was what, Tuesday, it was 3% below the 21. Now today it closes 2% above a rising 21. So rubric looks good. And since I'm on these cybersecurity stocks, let's do that theme. Zscaler. Having trouble at 300 a little bit, just allowing the five to catch up once it, gapped up after its earnings report, just kind of forming this little ledge pattern. That almost looks like a 3 weeks tight pattern here if it trades. When did it close here? 303, uh, 301. So if it closes around 303, 305, 306, maybe we get a 3 weeks tight pattern. Like I say, a pattern is just a pattern. It doesn't matter. This thing could rip to 320 tomorrow. But it looks very strong to me. And just finding support at its five, which a trend trader loves that. All these stocks that I'm showing you that are trending with their 5 EMA. I mean, jump in, join the party. The water's warm. What? Oh, CrowdStrike. Yeah, just surfing its five here, not doing anything wrong since it pulled back that one day following earnings. That was like your time to get in. It traded down to 445, and then it's just been the buyers, and people love CrowdStrike. It's going to be bought. Palo Alto Networks having trouble at that 200. Got the Matambo treatment there. Came back. Matambo today. So it'll get through there eventually. Matambo will take a day off and Palo Alto will dunk it over 200 over Matambo. All right. I think that's enough of the cybersecurity names. I want to go to these. This is buy now, pay later, SEZL. This one is just in heat, man. Last week it pulled back to its 21, just kind of a weird thing on, I believe it was a Monday or Tuesday, where the news came out. They filed a lawsuit against Shopify for their buy now, pay later practices. That was your chance to get in, obviously, retrospect. Hindsight's 2020. But still, pull back to its 20 excuse me, it's five on Friday, 131, and then pop today, and then 147 is the high. It's 147 after hours. This thing is just a monster. If you don't own it, man, I don't know. Got to find a way to get in. Look at that. Earnings lines heading due north. The stock is heading due north. It's got cash flow, return on equity, estimated, $4 in earnings. This thing's a monster. Dave is another one. It pulled back to its 21, in spirit on Friday, had an inside day today, below its five. So it's got to get above the five there, which was what, 219.98 today. The high was 219.90. So it's got to get through there sometime this week, hopefully tomorrow. But we're watching Dave. Dave is on watch, and Sezzle is just a monster. God, just a beast. All right, so that's the hardware, that's the software, that's the fintech. Oh, a couple other names that I just I call this TMI, but it's TTMI. This is one of those electrical contracting manufacturers, circuit boards for, the aerospace industry. And this one has just been a monster as well. Had this cup with handle pattern, broke out on this date, which was June 3rd, 8.5% move, and it's just been rallying ever since. Pulled back to the five one time and just blasting higher. And another one is TSSI. I get these two confused because of the ticker symbols, but man, just rallying hard along the five. The other one is in this group, the electrical contracting manufacturing. It's a Canadian company, Celestica. CLS is the ticker, and you can see this one surfing the five, just a trend trader's dream quietly. And this is one of those names of the 22, 23, 24 stocks that are on the relative strength list that I post every morning, and it changes every day. So you got to look at that group every day, the leading, keep saying leading, the relative strength leaders. All right. So hasn't made a new high, so you can't call it a leading stock, but it's a relative strength stock because since we got liberated, this thing is just, yeah, it's making new, every day, higher lows, higher highs, very strong. stock. Not new highs, higher highs. All right. There's a difference. So TTMI, TSSI, CLS. All right. I got to get you now. Today I put on a couple of oil and gas stocks because I don't know, there's a lot of geopolitical stuff going on. But oil was going up last week. I think it went up to like 76. It pulled back and gold pulled back nearly 1.5% today. But I'm trying to keep an open mind here. I didn't buy this, but I'm just acknowledging, that we got a cup with handle pattern here, and this thing's showing some strength here. This is Range Resources, RRC. EQT, this is another one, the natural gas. Now, natural gas was up quite a bit today, and EQT is a natural gas company, and this one was up 2.3%. LNG, Cheniere, they're just consolidating in the base. And what was the other one that I put on? Oh, AR. That's right. This is Appalachian Basin, U.S. exploration stock, cup with handle, looks a lot like RRC. So those two look fine. I mean, if you want a lower beta stock, a little more defensive, if the growth stocks get hit, these things do a little better. Gold and defense does a little better. Utilities when the growth stocks stall. So just trying to keep an open mind and giving folks some more options. All right, I have to mention some of these IPOs besides Circle. This is a Chime, a financial stock. I don't know, what was the IPO? Last week, the 12th, what was that, Thursday? Friday pulled back. Yeah, it was up nearly 6% today. So it's only traded 3 days. Not a lot of trading history here. And then VOYG, this is in that, the space group, which was strong today. This one really ramped hard up to 73.95, then pulled back. The IPO is what, $31? Wow. So it's at 54 now. But they run it up and they bring them down. That's why it's very dangerous to try to chase these things on the first couple of days. All right. What else do I have? Oh, HNGE was they got a medical product stock. I think Wall Street had at least 15 firms that initiated coverage today, and they had various price targets. I think up from like I don't know, from like 38 to like 52, or all above the price where it was, and it had a nice day today, up 4%. MNTN, this is another one um, that was Mountain.com commercial services advertising. It also had a slew of Wall Street firms that initiated coverage today with prices above the closing price on Friday. I want to say maybe 32, 22 to 32, something like that. But this is up 23% today. So nice move for that IPO stock. And then I showed Circle earlier. This is the real go-go IPO. Man, this thing is just a monster. So yeah, there's a lot of IPO stocks coming to market, and this is good for the overall market. It shows confidence, that firms are coming to market and that Wall Street is supporting these IPOs. This is a very important aspect of your bull market or your uptrend, your rally. Okay. So, I don't pay attention to those penny stocks going higher, but I do pay attention to the IPO. In 2022, I think that was the worst year for IPOs of this century. There's hardly anything came to market. Why? Well, because we were in a bear market. So when you see a lot of stocks or companies coming public, that just says that they have more confidence in the market, which is good overall for the psychology of the market. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except, and under the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing. SRPT, over the weekend, they came out in the middle of the night, like 1 in the morning, and sent a report out that one of their patients had passed away. And very, trying to hide it, 1 a.m. But anyway, you can't get it past Wall Street, down 42% today. So this one's in the outhouse. That happens with drug stocks, and this is why people are afraid of, drug stocks in general. Bad things happen sometimes. But on the flip side, you have VRNA, which has been just a monster. This thing, looks like one of those software names that I was showing you earlier, or one of those quant themes or nuclear stocks. It's doing fine, and INSM was got a FDA approval last week, and this one's firing on all cylinders as well. Traded above 100. So, I don't let, if I see a stock that I like that's in biotech, I don't let the fact that it's a drug stock. I know drugs have been slaughtered this year, but I still am not going to shy away from drug stocks just because, a lot of them get hammered. This is Sage Therapeutics, which was bought out. It was up, nearly 35% today. SUPN, this is a Boston company, I believe, bought them out. So yeah, even that one was up 1%. Yeah. Oh, Rockville, Maryland. Okay, close enough. Sorry, if you're on the East Coast, it's not close at all. All right. Um, all right, I did say in the honor of Steve Jobs, that was it, right? Oh no. After hours, we have some reports from Digital Turbine. It's up nearly 10%. I know it's a $5 stock, but computer software name up yeah, 10%. We'll take it. If you own it, congrats. That's a nice little cup, with handle pattern there. And the other one was Lennar. The home builders have been beaten down. I'm watching this thing tomorrow because I think these things have made a bottom here. In the process of making a bottom. 98 there was the low on April 9th. That was, when we got liberated. It's up from 98 to 109, up $10 or a little more than 10%. Not bad, but we'll see how this one reacts to its earnings report. I did not look at the report. I'll have it in the morning. There's a lot going on. I didn't cover everything that I really wanted to cover. JBL was another one in that group of electrical contracting manufacturers. They report tomorrow. They were up 2.83%. There was just, a lot of names that are doing well, that are on the that list that I tell you to look at every morning. I'm not going to go through those stocks. Maybe I'll go through them tomorrow. But anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, stay positive, think positive, be positive, stay positive. We're in an uptrend. Like I said, I think we have some more weeks of this uptrend. It's not going to be up every day. But I think it's going to take out the 20,204 in the Nasdaq. The growth is working. It's not going to work every day. You got to embrace those pullbacks. And when you're trading or owning those trending stocks, just use the moving averages, to buy when they come back and then sell when they rip. If they're up 5, 6, 8, 10% above their five, trim a little bit, wait till they come back and just kind of trade them that way. That's what I do anyway. NMCStockCharts.com. We never give up. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.